Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to the very first podcast of the Global Table Game. Uh, you know, you know what, Michael? How am I going to get people to the conference if I can't even say it? Can you say, can you say Global Table Games and Game Protection Conference five times real quickly without fluttering? Let's see if you can do it.
That's a
Okay.
challenge.
Okay. One, you got to
Global,
say five
oh,
times, five times. One, two, three, go.
the Global Table Games and Game Protection Conference. 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 The
Oh,
Global Table Games and Game Protection
I,
Conference. I got
I look.
five.
Was that
Sign me
five?
off.
It was so fast. I thought I heard six. All right, now how about three times faster? Ready? Three times.
No.
All right, I'm going to try it. Okay, I'm going to start all over again. Okay, this is like a bleep. Okay, here we go. Or what do you call them? Bleeps or blurbs? The mistakes. Bleeps, I think.
Bloopers.
The bloopers. The bloopers. Okay, it's like a blooper. Okay, so here we go. Welcome to the Global Table Games and Game Protection Conference. Welcome to the Global Table Games and Game Protection Conference. Welcome to the Global Table Games and Game Protection Conference. Now, the gentleman sitting across from me is, or well, sitting next to me on the screen. You all can see how experienced I am at doing podcasts. This is actually the very first time I've ever done one that I'm the host, that I'm hosting, and I'm at the controls. Uh, actually, Michael Chapman. Michael is a casino guru. He's going to be one of the very important presenters at the Global Table Games and Game Protection Conference at the Sahara Las Vegas from March 5th to March 7th. And Michael, would you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do right now?
Well, my name's Michael Chapman. I'm currently the gaming manager at Finger Lakes Gaming and Racing in Farmington, New York, just outside of Rochester. Right now, just trying to avoid some snow and not looking forward to that. Looking forward to getting back down to Vegas and rubbing elbows with some of the best minds in gaming, uh, passing along some information and learning some stuff.
Okay, that sounds good. And you know what? As you were talking, I just thought of something. I have to say it. It's off course, but it's so funny. Uh, this is the third edition of the conference. Before the first one, I had hired a few celebrities to advertise it, and I hired Pete Rose and Reggie Jackson, and talking about the difficulty of the name, the Global Table Games and Game Protection Conference. So Reggie Jackson did a 1.5 minute promo on it. I swear to you, I mean, I wanted to publish it, and I had an argument with like five people that said, "No, you can't publish that. You're going to embarrass Reggie Jackson." And he actually called it uh, two different things during his minute and a half advertisement. He called it the Global Table Tennis Conference, right? And then he called it the Global Game and Tennis Conference. I swear it. So I sent him an email and I asked him, Reggie, please, can you do it over again? Because these guys, it's hard to get them to do it a second time. But he did do it over again, and we got it straight, and that was that. So, Michael, uh, what I'm planning on doing with this podcast, because there's going to be several of them. We should be doing one every 2 weeks or so, or 3 weeks. Uh, I want to give everybody a general idea of what the conference is about. And the first thing that everybody needs to know, it's a two-track conference, table game and game protection. And under each of those tracks, we're going to cover everything that is applicable to those two tracks. And as we go on with the podcast, we're going to have a guest, and we're going to talk about one week we're going to talk about a table games subject, and another week we're going to talk about a game protection subject with that guest speaker. Uh, so this particular podcast, Michael, I would like to talk about on the game protection side uh, three particular really important events that have happened. And I have three in mind. Of course, everybody knows about the the big hacking scam that hit the MGM and Caesars Entertainment. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And of course, the social engineering scam that happened at Circa. We'll talk about that. And one other scam that hasn't gotten quite as much publicity is one that happened at the Aria in Las Vegas, which I'm sure a lot of people heard about, where I believe it was a hotel operation manager decided to create over the course of 9 months some 250 fake refunds. He created the refunds, and then he actually had the refund money credited to his own debit card, an average refund of $3,000 a piece. And the total of that scam was about the same as the Circa scam with the social engineering of employees. That's $800,000. So you know, I mean, tell me, Michael. Let's start with that hotel scam. You know, I've been around a little bit on the scam side of things. You know, a lot of people know my history. I was a professional casino cheat for a long time, and I always planned everything we did in the casinos with the utmost you know highest level of protection for us for the scammer. And I always was under the impression that in order to do something it would have to be so sophisticated and so perfect. And now you see these scams today that they seem so idiotic. And then, my first impression was they are idiotic. A person in a casino cage gets a call on the phone and says, such and such or so and so needs you to pack up $1 million and go outside and meet somebody in a parking lot and giving the cash. And the first thing I say to myself is idiotic. But you know what? I must be like an idiot for thinking that it's idiotic because obviously it's not idiotic. So, like, what is your take on this? How do these work? How does this particular scam work?
I like to say it's brilliantly stupid because it's simple. And frankly, a lot of these, the one you were just speaking about the reservation refunds, if that person just thought about it a little bit more and opened up a few more bank accounts, they probably would still be doing it. Because it was the single account that popped up. Should have popped up a lot earlier with the technology that we have available with AI and different analytics. That should have popped up a lot earlier. But mixing up the bank accounts, he probably would have, if he wasn't still doing it, would have gotten away with it a lot more and a lot longer. But really, that's more the stupid side of it. That side of it was somewhat ingenious in that he realized people weren't watching what was going on. Back in the day, when the quote unquote mobs ran the casino, they didn't trust anybody. And nowadays, there's an awful lot of trust in the casinos. And with that trust comes a little bit of neglect. And I think that's what's happening now. A lot of the internet experts are saying the casinos are not great for protection on their online and their data protection. And I think it's because we've gotten a little too trusting.
Yeah, and I speaking about the hacking scam, there's been a couple of experts on the national networks talking about very simply that the fault is with the casinos for just not being proactive in establishing protocol and procedure for preventing this stuff. It's like they're so interested in the hospitality and the customer service that they just ignore the security of their whole information system, and it's just amazing. So getting back to that hotel refund scam, like what would you say is just a couple of easy, immediate measures that casinos could take to prevent one particular employee to not only be able to do a scam like that, but to have access to everything he or she would need to do a scam like that. What controls would you think about putting in place?
Well, being an old table games guy, the first thing I'm going to say is there's always got to be dual access. There's no reason why one person should be able to initiate and complete a refund. Why wasn't there a supervisor, an auditor, someone else that was going along saying, okay, these are the refunds that were put in. And literally it's as easy as, you can get an Excel program to double check the accounts they're going to. And if it's going to the same account, that should have thrown up a pretty big red flag, if not fireworks. But yeah, certainly, a dual control process. Having spent some time in the financial industry and the banking industry, everything in the banking industry is dual control. And it used to be in gaming. But, again, it's predominantly still is in table games, but you start getting to the ancillary departments, your hotels, your restaurants, and some of the hospitality side, even coming to player development. You see things that are going out the door that one person has the ability to sign for and send it.
And another thing that comes to my mind listening to you speak is the actual gathering of the cash, and actually the physicality of that. Like, I'm trying to envision. I remember reading something about, and it was like, whose fault was it? Was it surveillance fault? Was it cage procedure fault? Was it a little of everything? But like, do you recall like exactly like what I believe it was a girl that did this, or I shouldn't say that was duped into doing this. So like, what did she do? How did she actually get the money? If you know, or if you heard anything about that.
I didn't hear exactly how the funds were taken out. Just that they were literally in a bag, signed out, and it was it's funny because it was a phone call and a text message, right?
Yeah, it's
That
amazing.
she got a phone call and, hey, I'm the owner. Well, I mean, really? What proof do you have on the phone? And then a text message. And I'll tell you, it was a long time ago. I've got a nephew that's now in his actually getting to be late 30s. He'll get upset that I said that, but and when he was in college, he was spoof calling his parents with blocking the caller ID, making the caller ID things like the White House, and all sorts of different numbers. If they could do that, 15, 20 years ago, you're going to take a phone call as a legitimate source of, I'm collecting some funds and walking out the door with them. That's well, that's the
Yeah.
stupid part of that
So
stupid brilliant plan.
yeah. So I'm wondering. Okay, so you said a text message and a phone call, and so the girl in the cage, she tells somebody else, "I got a text message and a phone call. Now, can you get $1 million ready for me? I got to take it to in the back of an international company case or something.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just it's just unreal. So
Over
uh,
$300,000 to check some fire extinguishers. At what point does that not pop a light bulb over your
yeah,
head going, huh? I'm in the wrong business.
yeah, so it just it seems to me I am not a surveillance guy. I'm not an expert on surveillance procedures or even internal controls in casinos, but I would just think that it's time for a mass tightening of all these internal controls and dual access and everything that needs to be done to make it really, really hard, for these people to come up with these brilliant, idiotic scams and actually pull them off.
Right.
Now, for the hacking scam, I've seen a lot of stuff on it. I'm sure you have. I'm sure everybody who's watching this podcast right now has, and it seems to come down to the basic things like really, really the same type of internal controls we've been talking about. But then also, what can casinos do to get outside help? Well, like, speaking about internal controls, like uh, one thing that I heard that was very prominent in all the podcasts and all the newscasts about this was that everybody automatically assumes that the hackers are using the actual internet to get into the system, but there's actually other ways to get in, uh, physical entries where somebody gets into the casino or into the area where the computers are, and one of the employees of the casino leaves the computer running, and the person just sneaks back in there, sticks the USB
Yep.
into the port, and copies information, stuff like that. I also heard. You ever hear of a PEN penetration test? You ever hear that term?
No.
That is, it's called a PEN testing, where any enterprise can hire cybersecurity professional service that are usually made up or consist of some hackers, and they go to your property and they conduct a penetration, the PEN penetration test,
Yep.
and they find out, what's lax, what's wrong in the overall information protection system, and things like that. Do you think that okay, so we know the damage, the purported damage that has been caused by these two major hacks? I'm hearing the MGM Resorts lost somewhere around 100 million or more, and I haven't heard about what Caesars actually lost, if anything. Uh, uh, I don't know what they
Well, there was the
lost.
50,000 or 50 million that they paid. So
Right,
it's
but
at
they're
least that.
right, and there might have been some time before they paid it that they lost some money.
Yep.
So anyway, so the losses are just galactic, uh,
Yeah.
for lack of a better word. Uh, do you think that casinos in general, and this is not a factual question, this is just an opinion. Do you think casinos have learned their lesson, and are going to really start to get on their horse and start galloping to make corrections and better prevent their customers' information?
The honest answer, no. Um, I think they're still going to look at it and they're still going to say, what's the ROI on doing it? Because we're so far behind in so many phases. And not every property. I mean, don't get me wrong. This is not a blanket statement necessarily, but as in general, we're so far behind the eight ball on that. We issue email addresses and computer access to just about all our employees, and there's literally no training, or I hate that word training. You train your dog, but there's no education as to how to protect yourself and the property from these type of incursions. Um, I see it. I go on Facebook to stay. I'm an old guy, so I go on Facebook to stay in touch with friends and family, and it's amazing how many times a day that you see, oh, what was your first car? Do you remember your first car? And they make it like it's just a friendly question, but these are all the questions that you put as your security question for your software. So, and people just readily just spew out that information, and it amazes me. And every time I see that stuff, I just put phishing, and hopefully people recognize that it is and stop doing it. But it's amazing how fast. It used to be you put on a suit and a tie and you could go anywhere you wanted. Um, now it's if you send out a message on the internet, people will tell you anything you want.
It is scary, and at the event, March 5th through March 7th at Sahara Las Vegas, we're going to have experts talking about all this stuff, and hopefully that will be of some help to the casino executives that will be there, so they'll be able to get more information about all this, because we're just covering here basic facts. that are already out there and accessible to the public. But I agree with you that I'm going to say education. I like that better too.
Yeah.
I've been calling it training for 20 years now since I got involved in this. So I'm learning something right off this podcast. Uh, and you know what? There's also some other scams that have happened. We don't have that much time left, but I just want to remember the Bellagio craps hopper scam at the craps table. You remember that one where there was the craps crew and they had their buddies come in and they would just make hop fall bets, and the croupiers, the dealers would just stick their chips on the winning numbers. Uh, and then that was it. And it went on for like a year and a half, and it took more than $1 million out of the Bellagio. And that's another uh, ultra brilliant, stupid scam. So
Yeah.
casinos just need to, in my opinion, in my if I have a field of expertise, it would be cheating and game protection. That it's just time that casinos start taking the education uh, more serious. So this is going to wrap it up for our introductory podcast. And before we leave, I just want to say it one more time. It's called the Global Table Games and Protection Conference. And if you get it backwards, which almost everybody does one out of two times, and if you call it the Global Game Protection and Table Games Conference, you get a pass. So thank you very much, Michael. And
Well, my pleasure.
yeah, it's great. You are the guru that Nick Ippolito told me about you. I had never even heard of you. No, I did hear of you. I saw you on LinkedIn, but at the time you were taking a hiatus from the casino business, and I figured, well, this guy's probably not interested or in casinos anymore. He's probably not really wanting to talk about it anymore. But you showed up at my conference last year, and you blew a lot of people away. So I thank you for that. I appreciate you, and we'll be back 2 or 3 weeks, and we'll talk a little bit more about the table game side of the conference. So thank you very much, and thank you to everybody out there for listening to this initial debut podcast from my point. And I'm going to get better. Be patient with me. A lot of people said I could never pull off doing a conference. I did that, so hopefully I'll be able to pull off doing a podcast. So thank you very much, and
Absolutely.
we'll see you in a couple of weeks. Thank you, Michael. Talk to you soon.
We'll see you in a few weeks, and come on out in March and get educated.
Okay, we are done. Okay, my man. I thought how'd you think that went? Pretty well for a first shot out of the box, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I think it went well.
Little
Good little
stumbling and
banter.
yeah, little stumbling and bumbling on my part, but I will be posting this on Monday.
Okay.
I will post it on Monday, and I will. I'll give you the heads up exactly when I post it, and we'll see how this goes.